All right, so reheating foods. Do you have a lot of leftovers that you use? Maybe your shepherd's pie. Spaghetti's usually better the second day anyway, isn't it? So pizza maybe not so much as a leftover, but some of y'all have eaters that you can't really count on, and you do end up having leftovers that you save. Be sure that they're getting up to that 165 degrees within 2 hours. Don't put all your leftover spaghetti in a 6-inch pan and expect it to get hot quickly. Put it in the little shallow pans so that you know it's going to be getting hot quickly enough. We don't do roasts and soups, and our gravy's pretty much instant these days. But be sure if you're doing some of those things that are left over that you do put them in smaller pans so that they get hot enough, quick enough. Cooling foods. Do you remember the days where you put things on the cart and left them outside the cooler, and you said to your manager as you walked out the door, "Don't forget to put the cart in the cooler"? Well, we can't do that anymore. Be sure that if you're cooling things down, you've got it on an ice bath. If you can put saran wrap over the top and put ice on top too, you want to be sure that you're doing that. You want it to cool down quick. Get it out of those deep pans, put it in those shallow pans. 2 hours, it has to go from 135 degrees to 70 degrees. And in the next 4 hours, it's got to get from 70 degrees down to that 41 or below. Are any of you staying 6 hours after cleanup? What happens if it doesn't get recorded? Didn't happen. So ideally, we don't want to have a whole lot of leftovers that we're having to do that with. Secondary from that, make sure you're cooling it off fast so that you know it got down to the right temperature before you put it away. It'll heat your cooler up too if it's still hot when it goes in there. And with this electricity and expense the way it is now, we don't want to add any more to that than we have to, right? All right. So be sure that you monitor it too. We're ultimately going to go to a temperature log for leftovers. I know y'all don't have it right now, but it's coming. Okay? All right. So you might want to remember that little piece, the information about cooling from 2 hours and 4 hours. That one's likely to be on your test. So how many love Wednesdays? No hands at all? I thought that was y'all's favorite day of the week. If y'all are checking in groceries, be sure that you're looking at the packaging as it comes in. If you've got ice crystals all over something that's supposed to be frozen, that normally means it has been thawed out and refrozen. And you don't want to accept that. I know, oh my gosh, but we won't have it for next week. We'll get it back to you, okay? Don't take something in your kitchen that's not going to be a quality product. If it's torn, like you get the chili in the bag, if the box is torn and one of the bags are torn, don't accept it. Send it back. It's pretty easy to tell if something that's supposed to be frozen is frozen. It's hard, right? You're going to kind of be able to tell. Produce is a little bit different story, and I know that guy sneaks in and sneaks out like the wind. I don't know how he does that, but he does. But how many of you have gone to get lettuce that just came in and find a bag with brown lettuce in the middle? Be sure you're peeking in the boxes, you know. It happens. I know it happens, but it costs us money to throw that stuff in the trash, besides the fact that it's not safe. So try to get a chance to look in those boxes when he comes and make sure that you're getting a good quality product. Dented cans, I'm not going to ask you to unload every box of canned goods before that driver leaves, but be sure you're setting your dented cans aside so that they're not getting used, and taking your milk's temperature when it comes in. I like to drink milk. If you don't like to drink milk, maybe it's a good idea to find somebody in your kitchen that does and get them to take the temperature, because then you get to drink the milk, right? Your thermometer's clean. So, and be sure and take a random temp of something that comes in off your grocery truck. That's something that we're supposed to be doing too. You know, 1 or 2. Put the thermometer between the boxes. Or on the juice, where it's got the handle in the side, the little cutout hole, Slide that thermometer between a couple of those cartons inside that box and make sure. And write it down. That's all right. You hope that it's below 32 degrees, right? Below 0 would be better. But yeah, a random temperature. And I realize a lot of y'all are not responsible for checking in groceries, but you're helping. So, you know, you may be the one that has to take the thermometer and check its temperature. Okay. So true or false? When receiving ready-to-eat products, make sure that they are at 45 degrees or below. Right. Why is it false? It's supposed to be 41, not 45. Okay. All right. We talked a little bit about approved vendors a few minutes ago. We get all our groceries from approved vendors. So, how can we prove that we've handled the food properly? Invoices from an approved vendor, our temperature logs, the manager said so, or A and B? A and B. Our logs and our invoices and our temperature logs. Okay. All right, and this is your next favorite part, I know, putting the food away. Make sure you're dating it. If you need markers, let us know. We've got markers. My handwriting in that situation is horrendous, but you need to make sure that you can read it. I've learned to write upside down pretty good, so you can whip through a stack of boxes pretty quick, but be sure you're dating it. Be sure everything's off the floor. If you've got, like after the snow in February, where you had just had groceries coming out your ears, put some milk crates in the cooler or the freezer and get those boxes up off the floor. Put them on a cart. Most of y'all have a lot of carts. I know that some schools, they're at a premium and you're fighting over carts, but some of the schools, put it on a cart. Put it on some turned over milk crates. In the cooler, be sure you're conscious of what could be dripping and what's below it. If you take those fruit cups out, frozen, and put them in a cake pan and put them on the shelf in the cooler, as they start to thaw, it's going to condensate on the bottom of that pan and it's going to drip. If your rack's not real clean, it's taking whatever's on that rack with it when it goes down. So be sure it's not dripping on your fresh tomatoes or something like that. Be conscious of that as you're putting groceries away in the cooler. And keep your racks clean. You know, if you see something, juice has a carton in it that was empty or punctured and leaking. If you see it, clean it up. It'll save you in the long run. If you wait till the end of the year and that stuff's been dried on there, you're going to spend some time in there cleaning it up. And back in February too, when we had so many groceries and you had them stuck in there so there's no airflow. I mean, you didn't have any extra room. Be sure that you've got some airflow around it too, so that all of the sides of the boxes can be a constant temperature for the cooler, okay? And who knows what FIFO is? Good. Be sure, do you have a system set up in your kitchens? The old ones on the left or the old ones on the right or whatever? Y'all all may be different. So be sure that you're practicing your first in, first out. Watch your dates on your boxes. All right, washing dishes. We're just dealing with all the fun stuff. If you're using a 3-compartment sink to wash your dishes, what do you do first? I heard somebody say it over. Okay. Do you rinse them off first, or do you just throw that pan of gravy down in your soapy water? Okay. And you've got, make sure your sink is clean. That's always a good start. Make sure the water's hot. Do you put soap in the first sink? Okay. And when the soap's gone and there's food particles and it's kind of brown, you change it, right? Okay. Don't want it so hot you can't put your hands in there, because then nobody wants to wash dishes and it's bad enough already. Nobody wants to wash dishes, right? In your rinse sink, do you have anything in there but water? Is it hot? Yes, it should be hot. There again, not so hot that you're going to boil a chicken, but hot. Okay? Your sanitizer water, if you'll notice on this slide, it says 171 degrees with water only, or 75 degrees with sanitizer. Y'all use sanitizer. in your 3-compartment sink. Okay? Can you control the temperature of the water? Okay. Is it cold in the wintertime? I'm sorry. But what happens if you add warm water to it? You dilute your sanitizer. So, I'm sorry, in the wintertime, if you're doing dishes, toss a bunch of them in there, let them sit, and then pluck them all out at once, and then, go put your hands back in the warm water. In your dish machine, we do use hot water only. Okay, your rinse water should be 180 degrees because you don't have a sanitizer solution in that. You've got heat. Okay.